aspirational retro gameplay, and just seeing how far we could bring it and how far we could take it and package it and extend it for a modern audience. So at its essence, it is a brick-breaking game, but there are elements to it that we've tried to make it a more interactive and visceral experience. So you can see Joss here is using a sucking and blowing mechanic, so he can push the ball around using the trigger buttons. So you see he's got much more fine control over where that ball is going. It's always interactive, and you're not sitting there waiting for the ball to do its random thing in the back.
Nice.
Yeah. On top of that, we've also introduced a couple of special moves and powers. So you can see as he destroys the bricks, it's dropping these fragments into the playfield that Joss can suck back into the back and either use for a special move or use for a shield on later levels. There's more free-floating elements that you need to defend against, or you can use for an attack where you can actually put your shield up and suck the fragments on, and it will shoot them out as shards, as you saw before. So the whole thing ends up being much more connected, much more immediate. It ends up being, I guess, a bit more of a cross between maybe a horizontal shooter or vertical shooter and a brick-breaking game.
Yeah.
So it just has that kind of
I like the side view.
and
Like, this is good. It works really, really well.
So these earlier levels tend to be a little bit more traditional. We've already unlocked all the help text, so you're not getting the pop-ups that would be introducing these different elements. But on later levels,
and the switches too. That's awesome.
You'll see different types of playfields. We have vertical as well as horizontal, and circular levels as well.
Oh, really? That's gotta be crazy.
Yeah,
and
so you're just actually blowing, sucking from the controller itself.
Yeah.
And
So
then,
it's localized.
So I can just steer this thing around.
That's awesome.
I can see it going left and right. It's going on a target, and you see how this little white dot, white point, it's sort of showing you where it's going to go, so you can fine tune.
Okay.
So you have like, I guess, an aftertouch.
Yeah. So in keeping with that kind of spirit on playing on your own terms, we also allow the gamer to put additional balls into the playfield as they want. So at any time you can add a ball. Joss has bitten off more than you can chew there. When you look at the combination of these things, one of the most frustrating things about brick breaking games, we love them, but when that playfield gets down to that last brick, in this game you've got the combination of having that ability to affect the ball in flight, so you can get to that last brick faster. You can aim a ball straight at it and get it there, so you don't spend the last half of any playfield trying to get those last couple of bricks.
That's one thing I actually hate about Magic Ball.
Well, yeah, especially Magic Ball.
Yeah.
It's like a toy with the shards as well. I can really.
That is awesome.
This one's way more fun than Magic Ball.
Very.
So where you start getting into some more decision making further down, you can see here there are free floating brick elements.
Right.
Yeah. And they are affected by that sucking and blowing mechanic as well. So it becomes a trade-off between controlling the ball, avoiding the elements, and collecting the fragments.
The thing was moving. I was like, my camera's moving. What's going on? And I looked at the screen and it's moving.
Oh, I never noticed that.
The box it's in, it's actually moving.
Yeah.
Wow.
Is it dynamic?
So what's going on? Mastered in a recording studio.
Playing field, is that dynamic to what's actually going on?
Wow.
Yeah, it's moving around.
It's moving around. I was looking at the stick going, am I going nuts? The camera's moving. I was like, what's going on? And I look at the screen and it's moving around.
We use subtle stuff like that to help try and sell the on-screen action.
Right, okay. So it's not dynamic to what's actually going on.
Now,
It
what's
is, so you can
the
see,
angle?
you can see it's,
You've got
it's
a
sort of
meter
shift-
pull up there.
shifts to where the focus
Shard
is.
storm.
Okay.
No, that's the
Oh, that was the
Gives you a little bit
almost
more
that shmup
visibility.
element.
Oh, nice.
Ooh, boss.
Visually, it's beautiful.
So this,
Yeah, this is a gorgeous game.
this is another thing that we added in very early on in our prototyping, again inspired by shooting games.
Yeah.
So we have a number of bosses throughout the game, one for each world, which you get to defeat not by necessarily shooting them all like this one, but they're affected by the behaviours affected by the suck and blow mechanic. You know, you need to use the shards, special attack for some of them, shield for others, and others, of course, the further you get into the game, the more multi-layered the bosses become, and you need to use a combination of different attacks and strategies. We also have, it's not really apparent on this one, but the bosses have multiple stages of attack, so they subtly alter their attacks. As you get closer to defeating them, they go through 3 stages of attacks. So they get a little bit tougher as you get closer to defeating them. So this particular boss is teaching you, you get the context just before this level about the shard storm attack, and it's, you know, the best way to defeat that boss is shoot him in the head with that special attack. And then there's between each world just a bonus to build up score and shard power. One of the things, we're not plugged into the internet here, but we really like what we saw with Geometry Wars 2 and how they had their leaderboards.
Yeah.
And it makes it really compelling to see your friends' scores.
Yeah.
So, when you're logged into the PSN, you'll see your friends' scores coming up.
So they'll be updated live while you're playing?
Yes, so if we'll have target scores in the bottom left,
Right.
which is the next highest score of your
nice.
friend.
Very cool.
And when you pass that score, it'll then go on to the next highest friend score.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Score chasing is really popular with a lot of our listeners.
Yeah.
So that's really good to hear.
And we have leaderboards for both the individual world as well as the whole story mode, as well as the other modes that we have. So
Very cool.
one of the things I like seeing on that Geometry Wars 2 is you got the screen with the 6 different modes there, and you see where you are, and you can tell, my friend's beating me there, and you go in and you try to beat them on that again. So
We like to do that.
we really like that element, and having that competitiveness there.
Oh, that's really cool.